I like to make a statement about this man, Geert, if I'm pronouncing it well, and about what Donald Trump is saying. Now, I'm Dutch, so I'm not entirely familiar with what Donald Trump is saying. But what I heard is that he is willing to address to the problems that Muslims form in the Western society in general, and that he's supporting Israel and etc. Stuff like that. Well, I'm in favor of that. Next to this, this Mr. Geert may be just an exception to the general rule. He may be right for his situation, but he is wrong for the majority of Islamic ideology. That's unfortunately, we see that pattern happening over and over again, that only a small group are spoiling it for the rest. And yes, this Mr. Khan may be very good-willing in supporting with his family. I mean, his son has apparently died in some kind of war. I did not get the details yet. And yeah, there may be Muslim people with a very contributive attitude towards the Western world, and that may be true. But that does not mean that the general, global, overall ideology of Islam is willing to support the Western way of living. Not that I always agree with the Western way of living, but okay. The general, this Mr. Khan may be right for maybe 5 or maximum 10% of the Islamic people. And that's admirable. I mean, if they want to contribute to the Western world, fine. That's, we can accept that. But we cannot accept the terror attacks that the majority of Islamic ideology promotes. So he may be right for 5% of the well-willing people, compared to the Islamic ideology that wants to destroy the Western society. So yes, he may be an exception to the rule, and that's what you always see. Also the opposite. That a lot of the majority of the Western people want to do good, only a few spoil it for the rest, so that the Islamic people want to destroy the West. So it goes in both ways. So yes, he may be very contributive to the Western world, in this case America. But what we see today in Europe, all those terror attacks, and what we see with ISIS, what we see in Syria, etc., all those Islamic countries, they're even killing their own people. And so the bulk of the Islam, so to say, is just an evil ideology which is anxious to kill off the Western. So yes, this guy and his family, this is Geert Khan, if I'm pronouncing it well, I don't know if I pronounced well, maybe an exception to the rule, and that's good, that's admirable. But that does not mean that Trump is wrong in his statements in taking up the problem of Islam in America, just as Geert Wilders does in Europe or in Netherlands. And in general, the Islamic ideology is willing to either convert people to the Islam by good or gentle ways, and if the people are not willing, that they want to kill them if they refuse to become Islamic. And that's the general Islamic way of doing. Even the Quran states that the Christians and the Jews, they have to be killed if they don't want to convert to Islam. That's in the Quran itself. So the ideology in general makes up this attitude of the Islamic people towards the Western people, and that is what Trump is referring to. And yes, this guy, this family, the Khan family, may be an exception to the rule. And but the general, the bulk of the Islamic ideology wants to wipe out the Jews and the Christians and the rest of the world. They want to make a worldwide caliphate. And that's where Geert Wilders, but also Donald Trump, is going against. So he may be, this Khan family may be right for 5%, at the maximum 10%, and Donald Trump and Geert Wilders are right for 90 to 95%. This Mr. Khan should understand that Trump is raging against the 95% of the ideology that wants to wipe out the Western world. Not that I agree always with the Western world doing the liberties, etc. I think too that the Western world should turn back to Jesus Christ. And what I also think is that actually what's happening to Europe and America is exactly the same as Nebuchadnezzar in the days of the Babylonian exile of the Jewish people, 600 before Christ, and the exile of the Jewish people in 70 and 135 after Christ, the Bar Kokhba. So basically by the Romans, by the way. So both Nebuchadnezzar but also the Roman Empire punished the Jewish people in those days because of not listening to God. And I think that today the same happens with the Islam. God uses the God of Israel, Jesus Christ, uses the Islamic people to punish the Western people because they say goodbye to God. That's what I believe, and this is what I want to share with you, and well, I hope you understand. Okay, thanks for watching. Hasta la vista. See you next time.